guys, and welcome to this live review of Venom. Well, usually this is the part where my intro kicks in, but it's live, so well, it won't. Have to, remember how to do recorded videos these days, but this is the fastest way to bring you a lot of content when it's live and I can talk to you guys at the same time. So I'm just gonna wait a few seconds until maybe some of you want to join, so you can hear live what I want to say about the movie. And first part, it's going to be a non-spoiler, and if I'm gonna talk spoilers, I'm gonna, well, yeah, let you know. So Venom, guys, maybe you've heard that the movie is divided in terms of what people think, in opinions. The critics think that it sucks monkey balls, and the audience thinks that it's, pretty awesome. Well, for the most part, that is. So, what do I think? Well, first, I'm Venom fan since I was a very little kid. I watched the Spider-Man cartoons, other more new Spider-Man cartoons, anyways. And of course, I watched all the Sam Raimi movies. And of course, I agree that Venom from the last Sam Raimi Spider-Man movie sucked terrible, and it wasn't really Venom. I mean, the story how Eddie Brock became Venom is pretty faithful as much as I remember, to the comic books, how, Venom dropped from the ceiling on top of Eddie Brock and, started to take over and all of that. And here is much, much different. 2 days ago with my mom. Yeah. Hi, Antonio again. So this movie is much different, guys. But first, I gotta say that although it's different, this is great. I mean, I'm not gonna keep you in suspense. Sorry. I think that this movie is pretty great. I enjoyed pretty much every minute of it. Although, I prefer Venom to be on screen from start to finish. Although, again, I know that that's not gonna happen. But what they built before that, how they built up Eddie Brock's character, how he is as a reporter, what his career like, what is his job like, what is his, you can say, what is his essence, how he is as a man, as a reporter, and all of that. You get that idea like super quick. You don't even need like more explanation. There's that thing that I previously talked about in my other reviews, that it's very rare for a movie to be able to present you a character or characters in a way, that doesn't take a lot of time, but yet you get perfect idea for how they are, what they're capable of. You get what kind of a person they essentially are. So that is what this movie does really well, with Eddie Brock, with his girlfriend, the villain, and so on. And yeah, guys, so Venom is not really the villain of the movie. I'm not gonna spoil it just now, yet, or anything like that. I'm gonna warn you. So he's not. There's even more evil person in the movie, but Venom does eat people, and it's hilarious. I don't want to skip like the whole review basically, but my mind just jumps through all the things that this movie presented. So yeah, it's just a great, like, fun experience for me to just remember it. And I remember it pretty well, which again, for some movies, they just hop out of my mind right after I see them. That's happened with a lot of Marvel movies. This is a Sony slash Marvel movie, which means that it's more Sony movie than Marvel. And in the beginning of the movie, it did say that is with association with Marvel. So it's not Marvel. Some of the critics actually did also say that they would, they would describe this movie as like a very old Sam Raimi movie, that it feels like this, like it's not anything from the modern era. I don't really agree with that. This movie has great pacing, that it's kind of similar to a pacing or a way of doing things that we are used to from some of the later movies of the 90s, which is pretty freaking great if you ask me, because we do need this, this way of storytelling sometimes, that everything is, presented in a way that is very well explained, like I've said, in a short period of time, and at the same time it keeps you interested, and you cannot wait to see when this character is going to become what he is supposed to become, and when they actually become one. And the movie does a great job to explain how the symbiotes work and how they bond with a particular organism, that it has to be a symbiosis achieved for that to happen. So that's very well explained, and then when it finally happens, it's so organic. It literally is. It's amazing because you see how the two guys match. Yeah, Venom is a guy, just he's a symbiote, so you can see that, and it's awesome. It's just amazing. And I know that Tom Hardy plays both Tom Hardy and Venom, not Tom Hardy, Eddie Brock, sorry, and Venom himself, and he does an amazing job. I mean, I know that I said he's a short guy. Yes, he is. And it's a funny thing because he looks more buff in some scenes. That he actually worked out. He has traps and bit of shoulders and one light shirt, or maybe it's a sweater, I'm not sure. You're gonna see that like in later parts of the movie, but then you see them in other clothes and he looks so small, like he never lifted a weight in his whole life. So that was kind of weird, because it's really noticeable that sometimes he looks like this and other times he looks like this. But anyways, that's not really that important right now. The important part is that when he is Venom, he is triple his size, and he is amazing. And I cannot, stress this enough, but every time that Venom is on screen is like pure gold, is awesome. His power, the way he speaks, he's such a funny guy, and not only funny, witty, interesting. He says awesome things. And that line, when he grabs this criminal and he says that he's gonna eat his arms, his legs, and he's going to be like this faceless, shapeless thing just going down the street like a turd in the wind or something like that. He says like similar things. I mean, not it's not the same, it's not like one liners, but uh they're so original for the particular situation that he and Eddie are in. It's just amazing. It's gold, it's pure gold. I love it. It's what I would want to see. It's what I would imagine the big screen version of Venom to be, even more, even beyond that. They make it better. They make it like work in the real world. So I'm like so happy about this. Say hi to Teko. How to Teko? I'm not spoiling anything yet. Arthur, hello. Arthur Mitchell, sorry, hello to you. Um, so yeah, guys, and the CGI was great. Venom looked extremely real on the big screen. I have no complaints whatsoever about how he looked like. Maybe when you see him from far away, when he's scaling a building or he's running, jumping, hitting people, is not, that real in terms of his movements. But on the other hand, how can you even imagine a creature so powerful as Venom moving in the real world, being so huge, like 3 meters of a monster basically. And he's kind of adorable also, and he's kind of, well, it's hard to say that Venom is cute, looking at this teeth and saliva everywhere and tongue, and he's supposed to be scary, but he's really freaking cool. Oh, my apologies again that yeah, I'm so sleepy. It's almost midnight again. Um yeah, eyes, lungs. There was a line. There was a line in the movie, again, this is not really a spoiler, where Venom says this, your liver starts to seem so juicy, so delicious and juicy or something like that. But the way that he said it, his tone, intonation, I'm not sure that that's the word in English, but the way that sounded was perfect. I mean, everything about Venom is perfect, guys. There should be like Venom all the time and almost never for Eddie to show up. Although, when they're both talking, it's awesome. So you do want to see Eddie and you do want to see them interact like all the time. Great. It's just great. So yeah, guys, I enjoyed it. The villain was nothing special per se, but you at least get a perfect idea of who he is, why he is. This corporate guy with particular ideas for the world and how it should work. And the symbiote that bonded with him, you can see that on the trailer, so not again really a spoiler. They're very similar, so that's why they matched. And that symbiote is freaking ugly. I cannot wait for Carnage to get here because he will be very cool looking in red. But that other silver symbiote, really freaking ugly. He looked like somebody tried to make a statue of a monster from silver, and then it started to melt, and then that started to move. That is how this villain looked like. So I enjoyed everything about this, everything. But some things in the trailer actually spoil a lot from the movie, like very. You can say that it's important. Yeah, it's important part. Uh, I'm happy that I didn't remember the trailer. When I watched the movie, I was so invested in the movie. I was at the edge of my seat like this. So I didn't really, remember the trailer. And there's a moment in the movie that I was wondering what's going on, what's gonna happen. But then they saw something from, they continue with something that was from the trailer. And then I remembered that I watched it and I'm like, really? That's huge spoiler. But anyways, this is freaking awesome and I just can't wait for part 2. And if you go to the movies, you have to stay to see this mid-credit scene that is gonna show you where the sequel is gonna go. And like I said, Carnage, and maybe you heard, yes, it's about Carnage. So that is freaking great. Freaking great. And the end credit scene, actually, the second one is just part of the new Spider-Man and the Spider-Verse animated movie. It's just a brief part of that movie, but it's so great. You have to see it. You must see it. It's worth it. I died out of laughter. It was brilliant. I never expected that, but it was brilliant. I enjoyed every second of it, moment. The animation, how it was done. Yes, it's kind of clunky style animation, like 10 FPS sometimes, or just, like a shot is missing, it looks clunky like that. But the way that it was done in terms of of facial expressions, the camera being placed in the right moments at the right time, just great. And like I said, it was hilarious, super interesting, just brilliant. So guys, I do recommend to see this movie on the big screen. And there's really not much to spoil, so whatever I said, I don't really need to get into spoiler section at all if you haven't seen the movie. So I won't. But really see this if you have the chance. I really want for us to support this movie as much as possible, so we can get a sequel. And the movie is, okay, sorry about my sleepiness, guys. And again, the movie is very successful till now, so I hope that's gonna stay that way. They're gonna make money and we're gonna have a sequel, and eventually maybe it's gonna be connected to Spider-Man, because how can it not? It's awesome. Now I'm just gonna recap your comments real quick. Yeah, exactly. Tom Hardy did provide the voice, Antonio. Oh, and I'm still, still thinking about some of the lines that were said in the movie because they're so great, including "We are Venom." You know, the way that he says it, or that faceless thing, faceless, legless thing, going down the street like a turd in the wind. I mean, the way that his face is shifting, the way that it makes the impressions, the facial expression, sorry, is so awesome, so organic. The way that Tom Hardy plays it, I have Parasite, and then Venom is so offended by it. He's like, Parasite, not Parasite. Okay, that's maybe a bit of a spoiler, but amazing. Okay, let me recap again. Mm. That's gonna be awesome if we have a Venom movie. Are you kidding me? It's gonna be a Venom game. I mean, it's gonna be so amazing. Mm. Yeah, kinda just much freaking worse. Much worse than Venom. Yeah, if you like this movie, you're gonna want to see a sequel, of course, Yevka, hi Yevka. So again, guys, I love it. If you have to give it some kind of a rating, because I really should, I would say that Venom is a comic book movie. It's a solid 8 out of 10, and I would have given it more if Venom was more on the screen. But I understand why he was not, and I understand the movie could be also done in a lot of different ways that are better. But for what we got for this approach, I appreciate it. And the character of Venom and Eddie Brock were done, spot on. So when they have this nailed down, they can always put him in anything, but they got the most important part perfect, and that is character of Venom and the character of Eddie Brock and how they interact with each other. Everything else I don't really care about, to be honest. But you can relate to everything that's happening to Eddie, you can relate to Venom actually, and to their bond, and you can experience something that's pretty unique seeing that this kind of a crazy relationship between two species is possible. So it's explored in a very, very realistic way. As much as you can imagine something like that being realistic, of course. So that is it, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Please let me know what you think in the comments. As always, if you haven't seen this live, you're not right here in the chat. Until next time with me, Gary G Reviews. Goodbye, my Gary T's, and I send you kisses as always.